Staffy, what you saying, bro? You had to get up at 6:30, but you got to see 3 goals. What are you saying?
I overslept, so so that never happened.
You missed the first 35 minutes. Amazing.
Let me tell you this. I've only watched after the penalty save. So all that negative stuff that you guys are talking about doesn't exist in my life. I actually had a good day. But listen, I'd like to apologize to the audience for the toxic and negative behavior from KJ and Neji so far, because we picked up 3 points with 3 goals, and they're arguing about semantics. I don't even know what they were arguing about. I'm not gonna lie. Mentally, I blocked everything they said, because today we have a lot of positives to talk about, and I rarely get to sit here on the terrace and say, let's talk about the positives. So get ready for this. There's no more negative Stuffy today. Stuffy has a lot of positives to talk about today. The agendas are getting dropped by you guys. You can't get me now. Listen, let's be for real though. I don't know what you guys talked about, because I was struggling. I don't know. I was struggling to log on to OBS today, so I tuned in a little bit late. So I don't know what you guys covered so far. So unless you want to tell me, Terry, what you guys didn't cover, I actually have a few things I want to talk about.
We mentioned how good Zirkzee was in his general play. We spoke about the lit standing up and being brilliant. Predominantly, we spoke about that. So yeah, go for it.
I actually did want to talk about Zirkzee, so I won't ramble on since you guys already mentioned it. But he's the highlight for me, and I'll tell you why. I've previously come on the Terrace before and spoke about different strikers. And listen, at the end of the day, it's a preference of what you want to watch. So I can't tell you what you like to watch on the football pitch. To each their own. I like to watch a striker like Zirkzee, and today I was very happy from what I saw from Zirkzee. Even though he did not score, let's be honest, another day where it's 0-0 and he misses that, we're probably all ripping into him right now. But overall, his game was very good, and it's what I wanted to see. And I always said I think Ten Hag wants a striker like Zirkzee anyways. The closest he's ever had a chance to have someone like Zirkzee was Martial when he was almost healthy in his first year, which is basically a preseason. You know, so we only got to have a striker like that for one season. No disrespect to Weghorst, he did do well, I guess, for the time he spent with us. But in terms of quality, he's nothing near to what Zirkzee is. Zirkzee today proved to me why we eventually could get what I'm praying for in this United team, which is to give up the number 10 gimmick. The day we give up the number 10 gimmick, I will be a substantially much happier person. I will fly to England just to spend time with you guys, to just show you that I'm actually a positive person and I like to have a good time. Because I have a good time when I don't watch a number 10 in my team. Today, he showed me that he could eventually lead us on to that. Because the way he drops off and the way he's so good on the ball, his distribution, his link up is everything that I want in a striker. Eventually, I want him to get some goals. But from just seeing that, our front line looked good. Like, let's just be honest. When's the last time we sat here and we said our front line looked good? We haven't said in a while. For about 2 seasons, we didn't score enough goals. So we most times, more times than not, we come here and we complain about the lack of goals. Today we didn't. And I think he was a big part of it. I think he made Rashford look comfortable. Fair enough, Rashford obviously had a good game, so he still played his part. Ahmad, I actually don't think, to the standard that I hold Ahmad to, I don't think he had that good of a game, but he still had a decent game. And I think the front line, it was just very refreshing to see them link up and all of them clicking. I guess the one thing that I'll say that I'm upset about, and I don't know if that's going to change or not, is the fact that I don't like the way we press still. We were up 2-0, and I'm seeing about 6 players in and on the edge of their box. And it usually takes about one little long ball to find one of their midfielders running at our defenders. And I can't understand for the life of me. It's like, if Ten Hag wants to press that much, fair enough. I'm gonna let him do his thing. At the end of the day, I'm a fan. I can't really tell him what to do.
Ten Hag.
But she's just like, no, obviously I'm Ten Hag. I said it last show. I said 35 more games. Now it's 34 more games. We're not quitting now. But the one thing that I don't understand is, like, why is our backline so far behind the rest of the press? Like, that's the one thing that I don't get it. Is it a lack of instructions or is it a lack of discipline? Like, if the back line is not listening to the instructions, then, like, Ten Hag needs to start benching people. Be like, why are you not executing the press perfectly? There's 6 players pressing, but you're about, I don't know how many yards away from them. And that leaves that little gap in the middle. That's why I say our midfield is like a cream cheese bagel. Everything cream cheese. Griggs probably orders that every day on Steinway because that's a New York thing. But I don't want that to be a Manchester thing. That's a New York thing. Keep that for the Yanks. We'll keep the bagel. You keep the football. Just structure the press a little bit better. I don't want my back line being exposed like that, because too many times I saw it today. when they play that ball in behind, and that's a Southampton team, no disrespect, their execution is not even that good. So against a better team, we'll see, like we saw against Liverpool, we'll probably be a little bit worse. When we have all these midfielders running back because they have about 20, 30 yards to cover, and the back line is just waiting for the other team just to approach them, we look a little bit outnumbered. And that's the one thing that I'm so concerned about, because as we said, I think we all agreed, it's not an individual fix. We can't fix it by replacing individuals. You can only fix it by just changing the structures a little bit. So I need someone to highlight that. Like someone needs to highlight, say, this is when we need to fix it.
But I agree with what you're saying. What was interesting is that once we scored, that almost dissipated. And there's such an element here. And this is something for the manager to address and for the manager to get right. But the lack of confidence in this team is crazy. And as soon as that confidence starts to improve, as soon as there's a bit more confidence beating through us, I feel the press was better. I feel we're more solid in midfield. We're making better decisions. And by the time we got to about the 55th, 60th minute, for the first time, I swear to you, first time in maybe 6 months to a year of watching United, I had zero worries about them scoring. I was like, this is done. Because
we dominated like a good 60 minutes of the game.
And we were controlling. And it's so interesting to me that what confidence can do for you, which is why I think what Suntran said earlier is so key. Yes, performances need to start improving, but we need to start getting some wins and we need to start converting some of these chances, because we still missed 3 big chances today. So I think if we could have a few of these games coming up, which are fairly favorable, and go, do you know what? Beat Palace away as an example, win the games in the Europa, start to actually score some goals. And I feel as though you might see things come together a little bit more. I'm hopeful of that anyway, because literally the first 35 minutes versus the last 65 minutes were 2 different teams. Completely different teams, in my opinion, and which shows they can do it. And I know Southampton are not particularly great, but we got bopped around the pitch by Burnley the whole of last season for nearly 90 minutes in 2 games. So there are improvements there, but we need to need more of it.
There's something Stafford said I was thinking the same, but I was going to wait until we got to that section about talking about it. He said we don't need a number 10. Or like we get into a point where we eventually won't need another.
No, I said like watching a performance like this leads me to eventually believing that we can have a team without a 10.
I actually don't think we need the number 10 role. I personally want to go to 4-4-2 with Zirkzee and
that's another possibility.
And a striker next to him, because we had a little period. I forgot what the specific timing. We had a little 5-minute, 10-minute period where we had Rashford and Zirkzee up top. We had Bruno on the left. And then Ahmad on the right. And it resulted in Rashid going through on goal, taking a shot, and Ramsdale saved it. But the way that we played in that little period, I'm like, this is what we need. Zirkzee needs someone very close to him to be the most effective. He needs someone who's going to run in behind to be the most effective. And I think if we switch to a 4-4-2, it'll give us a bit more structure in the midfield, because say we've got like 2 high wingers up top, you bring them up a bit. And then we have 2 players next to each other who actually can link up one going forward. And I think that's one of our biggest issues, that there's so much, when our striker gets the ball, there's no one around him. He has to do Hollywood balls to flip and find them, and they're fighting against 2, sometimes 3 defenders at one time. It's what many times in Hoyland last season. So I'm saying, listen, we could probably do a 4-2-2 or 2-striker system, whatever way you want to do it. I think if you convert to that with a player like Zirkzee, I think you'll see probably the best out of our forward line, because he was making things happen. And someone like a Rashford who's struggling for confidence on the wide areas, put him more central. Instead of him running at defenders, why don't you just run into space? And so
here's where you lost me. I agree with what you said until you said that. If you would have said Hoyland to play in a 4-4-2, I actually would agree with you. Because I think him and Zirkzee will complement each other. I thought you said Rashford to play central.
No, not Rashford as in like he has to like be the guy next to him.
If you mean run into central positions, then
someone like Rashford playing that role might help his confidence more than playing on the left wing right now. That's what I'm saying for Rashford. But more time it'll be Zirkzee and Hoyland.
Yeah. If you do play Hoyland, that would help, because I'm not gonna lie. There's a few times today where when Zirkzee got the ball, I usually keep an eye on Bruno more than usual. And I know Terry talked about this. It's not necessarily an agenda thing. I swear, like I don't want him to fail every game. But he is under the microscope more times than not, just solely for being the captain and all that. But today I'm looking at his partnership with Zirkzee. Is a few times, I'm not going to lie, where he received the ball in the same position Zirkzee was receiving, and his just decision making was shocking compared to him. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, if he had a roaming striker that would run around him instead of Bruno, who just wants to be a few yards behind him and then just either go for a cross or a shot or just taking a rash decision, if he had someone moving, that opens up more decisions for Zirkzee. You know what I'm saying? So you're probably going to drag a defender away. If like Holland, let's say, makes a run, that's another option for him to play someone in, or he's just going to move him around and he could just move the ball to someone else. And that's something Bruno didn't do.
I agree with that. The only issue with dropping the Bruno conversation is just when it comes to the first goal, we just have very few players in our team that can deliver those kind of balls. And it becomes that I would love us to go and find someone who has the kind of ability in possession that Mainu has, the killer balls that Bruno Fernandes has, and sort of the athleticism that we're going to get from Ugarte. We sort of need Bruno to have all of we need to find someone that can do all those three things, in my opinion, because then you can play then you can kind of play him as an 8, you can play him as a 10. He has that kind of combination of the two. But I do get where you're coming from. This here says, De Ligt has been class since you joined, and you can already see what Ugarte is going to add. Yeah, what did you guys... It was a very short display from Ugarte. What was your initial thoughts, Michael, sorry, on him? On Mickey,
he looked tenacious, to be fair to him, but I'm not going to take much stock because it was 10-man Southampton. I want to see him start next week against Palace, though, because I think we're going to need him. I don't think if we start Eriksen, Selhurst Park, 5:30 kickoff.
Damn,
in the midfield, we're going to get cooked.
Damn, yeah, that's damn.
It's going to be ugly. So,
I know.
And I want to see what he does because I also want to see him start. We played Barnsley Wednesday, I think, the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
the Wednesday against Barnsley.
I
want to see him 45, 55 minutes in that game, right? Get the legs under, all that kind of stuff, and then see him start because we're gonna need it. I didn't like the midfield pairing today, no matter what. That's the thing with Ten Hag. I can't name a midfield that we can play that I can be eventually happy with right now. We just don't have the balance of profiles. So I know KJ mentioned the 4-4-2. My only concern with the 4-4-2 is the midfield. It's what's going to be your midfield pairing. Is it Mainu Ugarte? Theoretically, that'd be the best on paper for the midfield too, but I just worry it's going to leave a lot of responsibility on Mainu because Ugarte, he did have a nice couple passes. I saw a nice little Trivela he did to kind of pass out to the flanks and stuff like that. That was nice. That was a little cute moment and stuff like that, but he looked tenacious. We'll see next week against Adam Morton, Sheik Doucouré, Will Hughes. It's going to be a proper Eze because he's probably going to have to mark Eze next week. I remember Casemiro marking Eze last year. It wasn't a pretty sight. So hopefully Ugarte has a better chance than Casemiro did last year. Also, can I say one thing about Casemiro? He's the most unique player I've ever seen in my life. I have never seen a DM.
I missed him today, I'm not gonna lie.
I've never seen a DM.
What? Wait, let me tell you what, I missed him. He came on and played 3 long balls right away. 1 worked, 2 didn't. And I'm like, bro, I missed hoofball. We were playing too good. I was like, nah, bring back hoofball, bro. It's been
I don't even know about that.
See that pass for the gun
that's what I'm saying. Yet? That's what I'm saying. I've never seen a DM be that good in the final third, but not know how to pass in his own.
He can only play in space. It's weird. I've never seen anything like that. He could play in space, but he can't pick a teammate out. It's just, it's. I don't know, bro. I don't know what to describe it.
Bro, I'm saying, bro. If he's not going to be playing that much this season, I'm just saying, since Ugarte is going to be like the DM, just move him a little bit forward.
Yeah, Haaland's just made it 1-1.
Just to see him.
Yeah, to see that.
Of course, inevitable.
Dead.
And of course, I'm watching the Liverpool game, and there's no goals there.
I'm saying that.
Did you guys talk about the Halal brothers, by the way? That right-hand side?
Oh, the Halal. I'm not doing the Masmari.
Boys,